Hi. Welcome to end of the day stream for Tuesday, November 11th. It is 50. It is 3 o'clock. It's 3:05 o'clock, 3:06 Eastern Time in the U.S. I just want to make a short stream here. And the reason I want to do this is just to highlight, how important, how relevant can be context and what's happening here, or what can be happening in this market. There is nothing. There was nothing going on earlier today. One of the things that were highlighted, that we highlighted early today, was probably, you know, and in the same fashion as yesterday, we were trading within this high volume node and this low volume node. Now this market is doing the same, right? Building value around this, but doing so is building right from the saddle. This very questionable. This is a very questionable non-excess low, the one we have here. And the market just traded back and forth, having in consideration that there was a tremendous amount of selling that happened yesterday. But regardless, the market keeps going higher. And something else that market has gave us today was a couple of distributions, actually. Right? We have one on the upper side and two right at the middle now and three down here. There was an opportunity when, and this is exactly when I came a little bit late, right? When the market came down, when I came back to trading this, the market was doing this, right? It has already taken settle, but it was testing this high here. The relevance is it did not close this distribution, and that gave the market, or encouraged, I would say, short-term traders just to keep buying this market. We had a breakout the previous day range. Value is higher. There's no reason for me to short this market. I can see here, for example, there is shorts constantly trying to sell this market, and each time they do, just check what's happening to them. Each time they do, they have less and less and less and less and less for their efforts, right? What's happened down below here, that's another thing that can be an important piece of information for the upcoming days. Now, Nasdaq, when I missed this trade, I actually turned my head to Nasdaq. I am negative on the day, but what catches my attention here is how this market, just came and stopped really kind of like a couple ticks from closing or taking these lows from what we have at the close yesterday. And I understand why taking this high from yesterday in Nasdaq as an excess. Nasdaq has excess on the upper side. It's a different market than the ES right now. It is right now. It from the bigger time frame, from the bigger perspective, Nasdaq might be reaching some sort of resistance. No, you can see here, some kind of like a trend here. Very mechanical though, very mechanical, and the potential support resistance can be right at the 25,800, which is the low of the previous or 2 weeks ago. And again, it's the center of this channel. This is a no man land. This is a dead zone basically. And let's check the ES. Right? When you check the ES, the ES actually is having some acceptance back inside the upper range, right? It has, it is leaving behind this lower range in the weekly and getting back in the upper range in the daily, but that's the daily. The strongest market right now is the Dow, right? The Dow is also approaching maybe some resistance here. Again, this is if I duplicate this trend here, no, just because I can, right? There's nothing else tells me, you know, you can put it here, you can put it down here, put it up here, down here, or down here, and I will see that this market is maybe reaching to the opposite side of the range, right? Very elongated, very strong momentum, but not check what's happening with volume as the market keeps going higher. Look at what's happening to volume, right? Each time has less and less and less. Russell is basically in range as well. There's nothing happening in this market. So we have divergent markets here. We have ranging market and Russell. We have strong momentum market in the ES, potential resistance being reached in Nasdaq. Some kind of acceptance in the ES, acceptance of the bounce, acceptance of higher prices. In the ES, right now I'm watching maybe this market, it's slowly chewing its way back into this 2-day range. The same sort of support or big volume activity that I have in market here, right, around Barcelo. Previously, I don't know where Barcelo was from the previous day. That's the same thing that I have up here. What I did here, this potential for firecracker effect here, was stops being hit. I just moved it from here to here because I don't want to zoom out too much here in this specific chart, and I just move this reference right to this part of the chart to the right side. Having a non-excess all-time high also is an important piece of information, and the market making an all-time high during regular trading hours. All right. Questionable highs here around the 96, 92. So this market actually has potential for or to reach the 6,900. Can it make it today? That is the question. We don't have too much time left, but the constant selling that this market is having here can actually provide the fuel, right? Can actually provide the buying power or the buying needed for some sort of spike to the upside. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. All right. What worries me is Nasdaq, that it has, right? It might be in sync with the ES, because value is not lower, value is inside value actually. There is a breakout of the inside, of this inside bar that is happening right now as we speak. The buying coming from the breakout, just check this, very mechanical buying coming from the initial, I would call this a spike in Nasdaq. Can this market reach the 2,800, which is where support resistance is? That wouldn't be something crazy, right? But volume, right? Volume is what is worrying me here. There is no volume behind this movement, either in the ES or the NYSE, the overall New York Stock Exchange, which is the one that I used to check volume. Now, something that is very mechanical as well. The fact that it's mechanical, it doesn't mean that it's not good. Right? Just look at this void that we have here with this profile sitting all by itself there, and the tremendous amount of activity that we have had since then, right? All the way down, and a big break, and finally the market coming back to this tremendous accumulation volume that it had at the time, and now using the same area. Right? This is how important it is to remember where things happen. Now, for me at least, or for the way that I work, this kind of breakouts or this kind of actions don't. I consider that this is it's not the ideal setup for me, because I consider the risk, the inherent risk that the market has is too high for the potential reward, right? Base it in volume, base it in pace, base it in how the market is doing things, base it what the indices are doing, all the factors that I have just talked. Now, after taking a break, I just went back to get some rest. Coming back to the market with a fresh mind, really, it makes a difference. It really makes a difference to forget. It happens to me that I take naps. Other people like to walk, right? Get some sunlight or whatever, right? We can do whatever we want, right? Whatever thing is fit to anyone. Now, look at what's happening to L. Now, where L is right now in the US, right? Where this market is. Remember, this is weakness here. Let's just to be okay, just to have it dot. All right there. We got context now. The action to the upside in the ES, as you can see here, in this period it's not been completed yet. Technically it has excess, but it's a poor hype. That's not a good hype. Down here, this low is at this day, halfback, and notice where this high is. Just check this one here. Check the market here. This is halfback. Okay, I'm going to put the line right at the high, at today's high, and where this high is. We had the same thing that we have down here is the same thing that we have up here. Can this be a daily high? Who knows? Who knows?
Order filled. Stop filled.
Just be aware. I'm trying to be aware of I'll try to put a marketing context here. 42.50. 42.50. That's the opening for today. right there. Yesterday it was 16. Right there. That's the only thing that I want to say. Also, I think I have fixed. Also, I was testing as well. Another reason I did this, I was testing the YouTube. The YouTube is the streaming. How this is streaming in YouTube. I don't have that error. The message error now, but I just wonder if this is live in YouTube. I hope so. Now the same thing that happened in Nasdaq. Let's go back to Nasdaq. The same thing that happened here in Nasdaq, that can be happening here as well. As can be happening. This can be, but the action, right? Not just check how this is happening. The risk of any kind of trades here right now is
order filled.
now this market, because what happened here, traders may be reluctant to take any kind of shorts, short here. Let's see if I can get something to the downside here.
Stop filled.
No, this is just a couple points there. There can be a big spike here to the downside in this market. If that doesn't happen, the odds that some kind of upside towards the 800 are I think can be present here, but this is just very mechanical buying here that's happening here. Very mechanical buying, right? It took the low here, and what happened here in Nasdaq? I'm talking about Nasdaq. This is a trend day. It's a hybrid day. You have rotation. The odds of rotation here, as we speak, are increasing, right? But rotation doesn't mean that the market is going to break all the way down to the daily low, right? The rotation just means that there can be an action, that the odds of an action to the downside are increasing. How successful that action can be as the market gets closer to the end of the day, that's another story. That's another story, my friends. Very questionable low here. I'm going to go ahead and mark again. These are just what I do here with these arrows, because there is just too much information here. It's hard to remember, for me at least. It's hard to remember everything that happened here in this market. So that's why I use these arrows, ellipses, highlighters, levels, blocks here, just to remember, right? And because also, even though most of the time I trade the ES, it doesn't mean it's the only thing that I watch when I trade. Now, something that I'm just checking here, right? The weakness that this market is having, this is a spike actually. Okay, this is a spike actually, what we have here. in the in Nasdaq. Okay, but this is very questionable, which is this high here. Now the opening period, the market is right above that high of A, and that is clearly being used as a support. Whereas support is closer than resistance. Resistance is about 200 points higher from where the market is right now. For a market that has been moving in the way that has moved today, with all the things that we have spoken today, I consider, and this is just personal, I consider the odds that the market reaches that, in this case, Nasdaq, the 25,800 level are not that good, right? Which will be the equivalence of the ES reaching the 6,900, right? If these two markets go all together, then probably, while I have the 800 in Nasdaq, I had the 6,900 for the ES. Now the volume is very low, both ES and NYSE. It's another day that is in sync with what the weekly opening has forecast. Now I am starting to wonder, right, what can happen now that probably the government is going to open. If that happens, it still needs one vote, I believe, in the chamber, in Congress, right? For Tuesday, we have CPI. There have been already two numbers, non-farm payrolls that we did not have non-farm payrolls. We just have ADP and some private numbers, but not the number that comes from government. And supposedly we also have PPI on Friday. I believe, right, it is my belief that if the government opens, these numbers are going to be the odds that those numbers have significant movement, or there is some swings in the market when those numbers are released, are higher, all the way up until the market actually find its real value. Kind of like updating to whatever the market has missed when or with these almost 2 months of shutdown. All right, that's it. I hope you had a good day. As I say, I am negative today. A couple points, not that bad, but it's not good either, right? I said I wasn't going to trade, but I'm just putting that out there. But that even though I have made the decision early not to do anything, I feel like I saw something happening here in the ES when the market was taking a high, right? And the odds that the Nasdaq would follow the path what kind of like had a significant weight on my decision. All right, have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe. Hope I can see you another day. Bye bye.